Did he talk?
That is comforting. I'm glad we have him.
What do we do now?
He should be here any moment now. Don't worry. Cato is a smart man who knows how to handle a gladius.
There he is.
Your Praetorian Guard is captured in front of the Senate. We must hurry! It seems he has them arrested for a number of crimes.
He is still dictator. He can do whatever he wants.
I fear there is nothing we can do to stop him within the bounds of the law.
I'll try to gather some Praetores. This is blatantly illegal, but I guess he's finally given up all pretense.
He is desperate. Be very careful. Desperate men do stupid things. I'll come with you to witness the situation.
Keep him occupied until I can bring help. Don't antagonize him.
I will come with you as well.
Traitor to the Republic! Murderer of Romans! Enemy of the people! I have had your co-conspirators arrested, and they are patiently waiting for their moment of execution. But my own patience is wearing thin. I know villains like you do not have a sense of honor or virtue. Nevertheless, I know you were at least born Roman. If you have a speck of honor left, confess and surrender.
Consul, what are you doing? You can't publicly execute people without trial. Our laws forbid such despotism.
As dictator, prescription is well within my rights. The people of Rome saw fit to grant me that power. Who are you to question the wisdom of the people? As long as Rome remains in crisis, I shall remain dictator. Your traitor friends are rightfully apprehended. If you want them, you'll have to go through me. It clearly isn't. You are still alive, aren't you? The Gauls were going to attack Rome eventually. I just made sure their attack took place on our terms. You forget that it was I who requested your presence in Gallia. Everything happened just as planned. My only mistake was underestimating the level of spite and treachery you are capable of. Unless your intention is to bore me to death, I would like to start executing these criminals.
This is bullshit! Those people are heroes!
They've done nothing wrong! Let them go!
You have lost your control, Lurko. Look at the faces of these people, your fellow citizens. They're afraid.
Only criminals and traitors should be afraid of me.
They're afraid of what you have turned the Republic into. That fear will turn into anger the moment anyone decides to stand up and protect the Republic.
You're a good tactician. Consider your position now. Your prisoners are the only advantage you possess, but they're only valuable while they're still alive. The legatus can wait until you turn yourself into a murderer.
Or we can simply kill you and save them all. Then you will have achieved nothing here.
You wouldn't do that. You're men of law and order.
Victory is fleeting. Loyalty is eternal. We shall still be your warriors in the underworld where spirits dwell.
He can't kill us. He doesn't have the balls to do something like that. He knows he will be condemned.
I look forward to seeing my sister again, and to tell her that I'm sorry. My only regret is to die at the hands of such a pathetic man.
I've shed blood in the name of Rome since the day I was born, and today shall be no different. Let him execute us, if that's what it takes to save the Republic. It's not for nothing. It's for everything.
Enough! Make your decision. As you wish. Who shall we take first?
Take me first. If I must die today, I will have it over with.
Don't do it! This isn't justice!
I decide what is just! Execute her!
You lip-dick coward!
Rest well, my second sister. I will find you in the afterlife, and we will hunt together again.
A traitor to the Republic has been brought to justice. I truly wonder what you will do now. Effectuated by whom? I'm dictator in perpetuo. I rule this city.
This is sick! It's an atrocity!
What's next? Will you have Pompeius executed too?
Calm yourselves! People of Rome, I am you. Don't you understand? A firm hand is what the Republic needs!
Despot! Tyrant! Down with him!
Get him! Put him down from there!
Get me out of here! Just get me out!
You're on your own, consul!
Coward!
Webius Vitellius Lurco, you're not going anywhere! Throw yourself at the mercy of the Senate!
You can't do this. You don't have the authority. Don't you dare!
Now that is a style of rhetorics I can get behind.
You won. My friend, you did it.
I should go home now. You do look better today.
Such things are natural. You've been tested physically and mentally. Furthermore, you've triumphed over your opponent. That much is certain. Your friends did not give their lives in vain.
It should have been someone else. Deianira had no reason to give her life for Rome.
She didn't. She gave her life for us.
Lurco will certainly be exiled, or even executed. The Senate doesn't have a high opinion of traitors. Obviously, you will have to testify. I know. You paid a heavy price to keep it that way.
If you will forgive me for bringing this up, I believe this will be good for your political career. You should measure yourself against the best of consuls, not the worst. As far as the Senate is concerned, you are a tragic hero who brought a corrupt consul to justice. Your voice is greatly respected now in all layers of our society.
Cato is right. Both the optimates and the populares admire you. And you have won the love of the people as well. Even without an official position, you hold great power in Rome.
I have no doubts.
It is an end, but the story continues for yourself and for those of your friends you saved. Fortuna alone knows what the future holds.
So ends the abridged history of the most singularly revered woman in the history of Rome. It is thanks to her and her efforts to thwart the corruption and ambition of Vitellius Lurco that Rome remains a proud republic to this day. With her friends gathered around her and her loyal allies working for her in the Senate, she spent the rest of her life addressing the many problems that had plagued the Republic since its birth. Her tireless efforts to promote democracy and strengthen the voices of the people greatly improved life throughout the provinces of Rome. In time, the savior of the Republic took her well-deserved place in history among such heroes as Cincinnatus or Scipio Africanus. ᴛɪᴛ. Once he had been an athlete, a wrestler, and a troublemaker. But in our story, he was a servus, a protector, and a mentor. He had died diligently performing the task to which he had devoted himself, protecting his ward. ᴛɪᴛ was given a tomb in Rome's finest cemetery, next to his old Dominus, whose death had incited this story. Though his death had been unexpected, he met his end with dignity and resolve. He had received forgiveness and, after a fashion, vindication for the mistakes of his youth. He was missed by all those who knew him. Caeso finally seemed to have had his fill of military campaigns. Together with Lucia and their daughter, he settled down in Rome. Though their relationship was distant at first, the shared love they felt for their daughter soon brought them close, and eventually they had many more children together. To his surprise, Caeso took well to the quiet life and to fatherhood. He remained very close with his old friends, with whom he often met to drink and eat and share stories of their old lives as the heroes of the Republic. Callida had been redeemed in the eyes of the law, and so she was able to stay in Rome and remain close to her friends. She settled into her new life surprisingly well, now that she was able to live it on her own terms. She was not in any great hurry to find a husband. Instead, she worked with her brother Aulus, who she forgave for not standing up to their parents. And with her talent for subterfuge and cunning, their family business thrived. Bestia stayed in Rome and remained close friends with his old companions, going out of his way to stay in touch with them all, no matter the distance that separated them. He returned to the arena, but no longer as a gladiator. His new vocation was to teach Pancration, inspired by the story of his old magister ᴛɪᴛ. Though it brought him little wealth, there is no doubt it made him happy. As soon as things had quieted down, Bestia traveled to Africa once more to look for his sister. He did find her and bring her home, and she lived happily there for the rest of her life. Deianira had given her life for her friends with no hesitation and no fear in her eyes. The Amazon warrior knew that she had avenged her sister and forgiven herself for her misdeeds. She went to the Chinvat Bridge with her head held high, ready to be judged. Vitellius Scaevola left Roman politics and moved to Upper Latium with his wife Liliana, where they raised their children together in peace. Cato remained an important figure in Roman politics, grudgingly respected even by those among the population who desired change. He remained a defender of the patrician class, a shield against the pandering and opportunism of more populist voices. He himself was elected consul twice throughout his life, and his years in the position were generally favorably regarded. Cicero served one more year as consul before his retirement. In his old days, he lived a quiet life on a farm in Sicily, where he was greatly beloved by the people for his time as quaestor. He continued to write many books on politics and law. Defeated once more by Rome, Mithridates escaped to the lands north of the Black Sea in the hope that he could raise a new army. But the locals soon rebelled against his rule. Incapable of taking his own life by poison, in the end, Mithridates died by the sword of his bodyguard. With Theophilus in charge of Musia, the city-state remained a strong part of the Roman province of Asia Minor. Under his religious guidance, its temples grew wealthy, and it contributed many disciplined soldiers to the legions of Rome. Without the leadership of Damianos, the rebellion of his gladiators soon spiraled out of control, beginning what became known as the Servile War. Escaped slaves terrorized the Roman citizens throughout Thracia until the wealthy senator Crassus brutally defeated them and crucified thousands along the road towards Rome. Lunia's death sent Naxamenes spiraling into a fractious conflict as greedy elders from minor tribes attempted to fill the void her passing had left behind. Though Queen Cleopatra attempted to bring the region under control, her attentions were too divided, the conflict too great for her to manage. Rome was forced to send more legions to enforce peace and stability with an iron fist. Though Africa Proconsularis eventually saw peace again, the traditions and culture of the Berber population were lost forever. Queen Cleopatra Philopator was, from the day of her coronation, a greatly beloved Queen of Egypt. Revered and admired by the population, she spent many of her days traveling up and down the Nile to visit her subjects and address their troubles and concerns. Under her rule, Egypt remained a powerful and prosperous nation and a strong ally of Rome. The fruits of the Nile flowed freely to the people of the Republic. After traveling all across Africa for many years, going wherever her instincts took her, Raya eventually returned to Memphis and to the service of Tenea at the Temple of Ubasti. When her mentor passed away, Raya naturally assumed the mantle as High Priestess of the Cat Goddess. Though the old faith was dwindling, she was greatly beloved by many, and her temple prospered, always home to many, many, many cats. With Diwytirchus once more assuming rulership of the Aedui, the tribe maintained a strong alliance with Rome, and through it, they greatly prospered. With the aid of the Aedui, Gallia slowly unified under Roman rule, and civilization soon began to creep into those lands in the form of paved roads, aqueducts, and fortified Roman towns. In his old age, did the Druid ever regret hastening the absorption and suppression of his own faith and culture? We will never know. The once proud and strong Arwerni were greatly reduced by the defeat of Vercingetorix, but his survival gave them hope. His will to make war upon Rome had been crushed, but he remained a strong figure of leadership among his people, even despite his failures. With his guidance, the tribes of Gallia remained unified and somewhat at peace, and vestiges of their culture and traditions survived their gradual subjugation under Rome. In this work, I have done my best to recount the history of this fascinating period, truthfully and accurately. As I have scoured the sources and spoken to many who claimed to have heard the story from someone who was there at the time, one thing that has stood out to me is the pivotal moments along the way where our story could have turned out very differently. In her darkest moods, the savior of Rome must have wondered if there was anything she could have done differently to save her friends. Perhaps if she had struck down Vitellius Lurco on that stage, or if she had gone so far as to bring her legion across the Rubicon, none of her companions would have had to die. But for those of us left to live in a peaceful and strong republic, what transpired seems like the best possible outcome. Our republic was saved, and the villain, Vitellius Lurco, was brought to justice. One should always take care when second-guessing historical figures with the benefit of hindsight. Here in the present, there will never truly be a way for you to know how you might have acted if you had lived in the past. Nor can you ever be certain how history will remember you.